Welcome, TIL Nation, to our Pastor's Perspective podcast, where we sit and talk to our pastor and our leader on different current events and topics that's going on in the world today. And in continuance of our marriage series, we've been joined with TIL's own, our brothers, to give their experiences that they've had with marriage. If you didn't get a chance, please check out our episode from last week where we were joined by our sisters, where they gave their account and their experiences with marriage. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves.
I'm RJ. I've been married 3 times over and not sure if I will get married again.
I'm Randy Person. I was married 1 time, but I'm thinking about getting married one day soon.
I'm Darnell Ginn. I've been married before, and I got a divorce, and I am currently remarried.
Pastor Kobe Nesbitt. I am married, have not been divorced. We don't talk about divorce, but we often discuss first-degree murder.
Darnell, let me start with you. You say that you were married and you got divorced and you got remarried. What about marriage kept that fire in you that you were still interested in even remarrying after having what some would call a bad experience if it ended in a divorce? What about it made you want to take that step again?
My parents had been married my entire life. Never grew up or woke up without my dad or my mom being home. So I watched them go through arguments and watched my dad make really stupid decisions. Nothing like outside of the marriage or anything like that, but just financial stuff, and just watching them be able to argue whatever it was, figure it out together, and decide, hey, no matter what, this is not going to break us up. That was encouragement in itself. So when I got a divorce, I immediately was like, oh, I'm getting remarried. It was never a doubt in my mind or a thought that I wouldn't. But I ran across Brittany Hodges. And now that I had to make her my queen. Amen.
Mr. Randy, how about you? You said that you were married, you got divorced. How long were you married? And after divorce, what about marriage still has you to the point where you thinking it's even still possible?
Well, I was married for like 15 years. And the thing was, I thought material stuff would make things better. Instead of being a father, most of the time I was at work 7 days a week. I was never home. I was always making the money. I wanted to have this lifestyle, stuff that I never had before. So I said, well, I'm going to go after the money. But then after going after the money, everything else was falling apart at home. You had the money. You could go where you want to, but you don't have time to spend it or spend time with your kids. When I would come home, my kids be in the floor crying because I was, working all the time. To have that lifestyle or try to, make a good family. From where I came from, only thing I heard was fussing, arguing, fighting. Daddy might come home, he might not. So I had to learn. I said, well, when I get older, my family ain't going to be like this. But not knowing I had a problem with controlling. It had to be my way.
RJ?
For me, it's like I've been married 3 times, and all 3 total to 20 years. So, I mean, it's not a bad taste in my mouth, so to speak, toward marriage, because when I look at each one, the first one was because materialistic, what I can gain just because I'm married because I was in the military. The second one was because, well, you still here. Third one was because straight flesh. I'm looking at I'm being honest, straight flesh. I'm like, oh, okay, what can you do for me? That quickly fades.
Sure.
So in looking at it, I look at each one, and I had to examine myself. I had to look at myself because I fought myself for all 3. It's not like I had to do it. It's not like a gun was put to my head, but I did it. So it's not a bad taste in my mouth, so to speak, going toward it. It's just more or less now I'm allowing God to be able to lead me in the way I should go and pray about, what I actually desire and need from that woman to be my equal, to be that same yoke. So that's just, it's not a bad taste. It's just, you know, hey, I don't know.
So is that why though? Is not a bad taste because as you look at the marriage, you're able to identify where you were the problem and not so much they were the problem.
Right. Because, I mean, like I say, it's when you go into it, you have to go into it, you know, with the right intentions. Every last one of my intentions was wrong. So I can't look at it and say, well, they failed. No, I failed. You know, where I should have stood up, where I should have been a man, where I should have been allowing God to be able to lead me, I wasn't. So
That's good, and that's maturity for somebody to be able to say that. And I just kind of throw this out there, and anybody can kind of grab it because RJ kind of sparked the thought because you said going into it. I don't know how old each of you were when you first got married. If you today were to be able to talk to that individual, however old, say you was 18, say you was 21, or however old, what do you know now, your takeaway from the marriage? What do you know now that you would have told younger you as like going into the marriage? Any one of you can, or all three of you, I can pick it up if you want.
I was 22, 3 days before turning 23 is when we got married. Me now would tell my younger self, take more time to get to know her. We got married. Well, I met her in like August. We got married in January.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so, but it wasn't that her personality was the issue. It was her underlying issue that she was battling. She decided to live the alternative lifestyle. I feel comfortable saying that now because she's open about it. And we're really, really, really good friends. But
Glad
yeah.
you told me that because I sure was gonna cut it. But he said,
Yeah, no, she's open about it.
I got you.
If you know who she is, you know
Sure,
who she
sure,
is.
sure,
You
sure.
don't. But yeah, so I believe that played a underlying part of it.
I got you.
Right along with not knowing her, not really having that courtship to really get to know each other. Also, too, just being so young. I don't think there is a age minimum or an age maximum you should get married at or anything like that. But both of us in the state that we were in at that time, we weren't ready.
I got you.
However, like how my current wife is, I feel like if we would have both wanted it, both determined to make it work, both willing to put in the work that needs to be there and all of that, then I think it could have worked. But, you know, that's in the past. We really don't.
Sure.
We really don't know how that would play out. But I really think that's really what happened in our first marriage, just really more so to the underlying stuff that was unforeseen and we didn't know about it until it was all exposed.
I got you. That's good. So you said, I'm coming to you. So you said just taking the time to know someone, and I think that I just really want to key in on that really quick before I let the other gentleman answer, because I find that so often in so many couples, so many relationships, I think we speed in. And I know I sound like a broken record. I said this when it was just me and Angelo talking. I said this when it was Angelo and I and the ladies. And I'm going to say it again to whomever's watching. It's so important that where we do slow down and we do take our time. There's not as he says, not an age that, you know, a time. This is a marriage age. Just like it's not a marriage age, it's not a time to spend with someone or the court or the date. To say that, okay, we're ready. Because I don't care how many counseling sessions you go to. I don't care how many books you read. I don't care how long y'all take to get to know each other. There's still going to be some things going to slap the taste out of your mouth as relates to marriage. And then the other end of that is you got those people that's waiting forever trying to get married. Y'all been fiancé and shacking and hacking for 10, 15 years. That's not a good way to do things either. But at least if we're working towards getting to know each other and prepare ourselves properly, we cut down on a lot of different things. So which one want to go next?
Well, I want to say I got married like 22.
Okay.
And the communication, I found out, I don't care how bad it is, talk about it.
That's good.
I would come from work so tired, to when things were brought to my attention, I would like, we'll handle it later, instead of, talking about it then. But I think communication is the key to a good start off in a relationship.
Sure.
For the sex part in a relationship, if you fall in love with somebody with the sex, that's not going to keep you together.
That's right. That's true.
Because once you finish, you're ready to go on about your business.
That's
and then
right.
you saying to yourself, sometime as a man, I already got what I wanted.
What?
My.
And so,
So they say the sex ain't gonna keep us.
right. So if you jump right into it, I learned that
The marriage or the sex?
the sex
Okay. I got you.
before the marriage, it's gonna destroy you down the line because
Sure.
the first thing you'll say, her feelings in the way, your feelings in the way, and but now one of you can see clearly now.
Sure.
Because you all of you cloudy. The only thing you think about, we in love, we talking, but we never dealt with our issues that we dealt with.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
So, RJ, what would you tell you?
I'm a steal from all three of them, both of them, Pastor as well. You know, the whole fact of being able to know the person, talking to them, communication. But to me, I would tell my younger self, you need to be equally yoked with the person that you get involved with.
That's good.
Because to me, that's very vital, because you get with someone and y'all got so many different differences and y'all don't agree on so many things. Okay, let me say this real quick. I was taught growing up, you know, in the Bible it says, be not unequally yoked.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it was explained to me during that time frame, unequally yoked meant you both need to have the same faith.
Right.
That was it. And I'm like, okay, well, we got the same faith, but then we got all these other differences going on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so to me, that's the underlying problem. I need to be equally yoked with the person. I need to understand and make sure that not only can we get to learn and talk to one another, but at the same time, if I'm having a bad day, I know you're going to come talk to me. You're not going to downplay me. You're not going to down talk me. You're not going to say, you know, all these different words about, hey, you know, try to demean me or make me feel, you know, emasculated as a man. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? That's going out, that's doing this, that's doing that. And if I have this, you know, off the wall thought and I say it out loud, I know you're not judging me.
Right.
You know, I know at the same time when, let's say we go somewhere and it's other couples and, you know, we all out there talking and joking, I know that you're not jumping on the bandwagon when everybody else joking on me when yet you're supposed to be having my back. You know, to me, that's so much, because you need to be equally yoked with that person on it. They have your back, even if you're wrong. But you know, when y'all leave, y'all talk about it. Okay, I was wrong. But they're not trying to make you look bad or feel bad. So I would tell my younger self, be equally yoked with the person who you with.
Right. That's really good. I'm gonna give it to Deaungelo because you said it. Yes. I should not marry anybody. If I'm a believer, if I'm a Christian, I should not ever take the chance on saying that I'm going to marry this person and they're an unbeliever. You're making one of the biggest mistakes that you can make in your life. If you want to evangelize somebody, come on. Every so often we go out and we do street evangelism. We'll take you with us when we go to some of these low income houses or something like that. We go to the hospital, the prison, and all that. Outreach, baby. But don't use your marriage for outreach. It's not that or evangelistic effort. That does not work. It does. You have some cases that the person does convert, does get saved, but the vast majority of the time you have a lot of heartache and pain and misery. But then also what RJ was alluding to, when we get married, we have colliding covenants. If we're not just talking about God, not just talking about your faith, so to speak, but there's some things that person has near and dear to their heart. And maybe they're close with their family. Maybe they have children already. Maybe they're very career oriented. Maybe they're trying to get that coin, get that cheddar. They're trying to get a degree. And so this is a covenant that person have. And we oftentimes kind of hide under the umbrella. We say, well, opposites attract. And to a certain degree they do. Because me and my wife, we, instead of saying opposites, I said we complement one another. Some areas where I'm weak, she's strong. And areas that she's strong, I'm weak. Or I think I said the same thing twice. But areas that I'm lacking, she's strong, and in other areas that she's strong, but we complement each other. So the point that I'm trying to make is that whenever it is that you are so opposite and so different, they attract, but they also agitate. They also collide. They also get on your nerves. So I think that is very, very good. Very good advice. Spend time with one another. Learn the power of communication. Make sure that you are equally yoked. And I think that there's some people that's watching that's definitely encouragement too.
Mr. Randy, you spoke to when you came up, you seen your parents argue a lot. And then you spoke to one of the things that you thought was an issue in your marriage where you was always chasing the money. Was that something that when you heard your parents argue a lot, it was usually about finances? So do you believe that's one of the things that when you got married, you said, well, I'm going to make sure the money ain't a problem, but then you didn't handle the other part? Or or is that not the case?
Yeah, it was mostly the financial part. We don't have enough money to pay the bills. So as I got older, I would like, hey, I got to have money to take care of these children. I got to,
Right.
you know, if my wife needs something, I can't tell my, well, you have to wait the next week. You got to wait. I need to start off to do something. And I'm a strong believer in saving money. My brother, they call me tight, but I ain't tight. I do it for a reason.
Tight. It's a cheapo.
But I do it for a reason because as you grow older and stuff, you can't do the things you used to do.
Right.
And so what are you going to do, you know? And the only thing I seen was ain't enough food in the house when I was coming up. We didn't have stuff like people. We had peanut butter and jelly sandwich, cheese sandwiches and stuff, pork and beans and weenies and stuff like that, and rice. So I said, when I came, I said, my children won't have anything that they want. I'm going to buy them whatever they want. Because I feel like me being a parent, I should be able to support my children.
Sure.
I shouldn't have to go to my aunt and my uncles and them asking them for money because they're my kids and stuff. So as I got older, I said, the money, after the money. And all the other stuff I miss. I miss playing with my daughters. I miss going to the park. You know, they're in the PTA doing a play. I miss that because I'm working. And so once they grow up, got grown, Dad, you weren't never there. You know, and that kind of hurt today for a child to say, you wasn't there. You were doing all the other stuff,
Right.
but you weren't there to spend time with them. And I think when you got kids and even when you work, you got to make time for your kids because they hold the future tomorrow. And if without us pouring into them, you know, to put them on the right path, they'll go astray.
That's good.
Darnell, when you entered your second marriage, what's some of the things that you told yourself I have to leave behind? Like before I access her, what's some of the things I have to shed from this previous marriage before I move into another one?
It's gonna sound like I'm capping. I really didn't. I tell people all the time who ask about my marriage or I talk about my previous marriage with, I tell them Brittany's getting no different than my previous wife. Yes, I like to play ball. That was one of the things. Both of them, hey man, you eyeballing too much. Come on, still chill to the crib or whatever. But I really, well, let me take that back. Okay, I got you.
We were saying it's all her fault.
Right.
So, yeah.
No. It definitely wasn't all her fault. It wasn't like that. Well, and that's what I was going to allude to now or get to now. I showed a lack of concern. And Brittany taught me how to be concerned.
That's good.
It was just, even though I saw the signs or saw different things happen in my previous marriage, whether it was the underlining or just her and her feelings or whatever it may have been, it would be like, all right, girl, you'll be all right. You'll get over it, like that. And then when I came into my current marriage, I did the complete flip. I was trying to make Brittany tell me everything. I was like, we're going to talk about it now. No, go ahead, get it out. You'll feel better and all that kind of stuff. But I had to also learn, it wasn't that she wasn't cool with me being concerned, but I was being very abrasive and I wanted it when I wanted it. You know what I'm saying? Versus allowing her to say, you know what, let me just process this. Let me figure this out. Because if I say it right now, you ain't gonna like the way it's gonna come out, and then it's gonna be a whole nother thing. But really just showing that concern, showing her that her feelings matter. And even if I felt like I didn't do anything wrong, how to see she's hurt and apologize just for the fact that she's hurt. Even if you didn't feel like you did anything wrong, it was just the way I said it. But dang, my bad, baby. I didn't mean to say it like that. I didn't mean to come at you like that. I didn't mean to hurt you, because it's not what I was saying. It was more so how I was saying it. And that would, and I have to worry about her feelings.
That's good. That's good. Speak to, because I don't remember what setting we was in. I think it was either in the millennial thing or something. But I remember a powerful testimony that you shared about how Brittany has helped you. Not so much with your relationship with God. I know you grew up in church, knew about all the things like that. But I think it was more so geared towards, was it your temper or your attitude or something you said that Brittany kind of helped you on. So just kind of speak to that on how she's added that value.
Yeah, I had a nasty temper, man. Like I really had a no care attitude, and it part of it was because of the failure of my first marriage, and I just felt like I ain't had nothing else to lose. So I was just like, "Oh, you talking junk? I'm swinging on you." Like Pastor don't remember. But I came to Pastor's office and I had to apologize to him because we had an incident at Philippian Community Church, and it wasn't a we, I did. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, I'm popping off the pastor, and Pastor's like, "Bro, I don't know what's wrong with you." He kept saying, "I don't know what you want me to do. I don't, you know." But he was the only person in that area, and I was just popping off, acting crazy. But I just had that temper. I don't know. I mean, I do know, but I just don't, at that moment, I don't know why I didn't care so much. And Brittany, yeah, she saved my life, like literally, because I mean, you do that to wrong people now, you gone, man. Them people ain't trying to hear all that on these streets, you know what I'm saying? So, and never thought I was a thug or nothing, but I was never one to back down to anybody, and that could have got me killed. But being with Britt, you know, or just seeing how much she cared about me, how much she loved me, how much, you know, she really wanted to see me succeed and, you know, be a better father to my son I already had. And from my previous marriage, I was just like, you know what? Let me calm down. Let me approach this situation this way, or, you know, let me do it this way. And she would give me pointers like, okay. And after I calmed down, she'd be like, "Baby, you thought that was the way to go about whatever it was?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, you're right. I don't know why I was popping off. I was just tripping. I don't know what was up." But yeah, so yeah. She literally saved my life, man. Wow. Literally.
RJ, like Darnell was saying, how when he got with Brittany, she changed his temperament and things like that. Now, when you go into, if you're considering going into another marriage, and you talked about being equally yoked, what's some of the things that you're looking for, that you were not looking for in your previous marriage, that you would consider this person being equal? If this was eHarmony and you just your profile,
my God,
what is truth to love? Yeah, what is it that you would like her to bring to the table when you look for equally yoked?
Now and then, well, as of now, what I'm looking for is I'm gonna say this just like this: a friend with benefits. Meaning, let me explain. Because Pastor went straight left.
He said a friend with benefits. All right. Shut up. You know, explain. Tell me more.
About Aetna.
He ain't talking about insurance. He ain't talking about...
Because to me, it's so important, you know, just any time period, not just this time, but even back then, to have the woman who you desiring to be with, to be able to pray for you.
Yeah.
Not P-R-E-Y, P-R-A-Y.
Man, that's good.
All right, now.
I need to be able to have a friend.
That's good.
In my wife.
Right.
Someone who I can confide in. Like I said earlier, if I'm having this off-the-wall thought or something crazy, she can come and, you know, touch me and baby, let's pray about this.
That's good.
Let's talk about this. You know, I mean, because to me, I look at it as in all three of my marriages, I never had a support like that. So to me, I never brought work home. And I guess because I never saw my father bring work home, I never brought work home. To me, work was work, home was home. The money coming from work to take care of home. So in doing that, I'm saying to myself, I want me a friend that's going to be equally yoked. We can communicate, we can talk about anything, and we can pray and go before God. That's important to me.
But talk just for a second, RJ. There, to a man, this is a man's world. We're all macho. We all tough. What does that mean for a man to have that type of support? I mean, not that you flimsy, not that you all emotional, not that you just want to cry and all this other kind of stuff, or need somebody to talk you down. But what does that say to you? To have that type of support, that person that can talk you down, that can pray for you, not pray on you. Just kind of speak to that as a man.
Because to me, okay, being that man, you go through so many different things, and being a minority male, it's a lot harder for you. No matter where you go, you already a target. No matter what you do, no matter what you say, you already a target. And even if you
with
go
being
out
light-skinned.
and you implementing those things you need to implement and walking the way you should walk, trouble's still gonna come trouble you, whether you go trouble or not.
Right. Right. That's right.
So
Yeah.
even with that, because at any given time, you at work, you got somebody gonna come at you and say something to you that's gonna take you to a whole other level. Like, and say okay, wait a minute. Then you're gonna have some woman who gonna probably say something to you, and especially if you're not getting your needs met at home,
Sure.
then those needs will be met elsewhere if that's where your mind is.
Sure.
So to me, having that support is knowing that when I come home, I'm not looking for no what they call it. I'm not feminist where you got to be home, you got to do this. No,
Right.
or you got to this is your job.
Right.
This is what I do. No, I'm
Right.
not. That's not what I'm saying.
I got you.
What I'm saying is, okay, you work too. To me, your home, your spouse should be where you can go and refresh.
Right.
That says a lot to me to be able to go home and say, okay, look, I had a rough day. We had a rough day. Okay, first thing first. Let's go to God first and let's pray about it. Let's talk about, different things, or if you want to talk about it, let's talk about it. If not, then that's fine. So to me, being able to have that support, because you go through so many different things on any given day that when you get home, you're not trying to hear the light bill, so-and-so, and this, that, and the third, and unplug that charger. Man, my phone charger.
Right. Right.
I mean,
Right, I
for
got
me, put it out there, my third marriage, my wife did not work. I paid all the bills. So coming home, I had to hear about money. First of all, you don't pay nothing.
Right.
I'm paying everything, but then now you want to complain about a light bill, and you've been home all day.
Right.
How about cut the lights off?
My.
I'm just saying.
Right.
Don't come complaining to me or hitting at me about something that I'm trying my best at, and then you're not supporting me as to say, okay, look, what can we do differently? What can we do better? Let's put away your needs, or not your needs. Let's put away your wants,
Right.
and let's fulfill these needs, because the bill's gonna get paid regardless.
Right.
I ain't sitting in no dog.
Right.
So, I mean, that's the whole support issue, because I mean, I'm not saying that, caveman era where I'm gonna knock you across the head, or it's
No,
like
no.
I'm in charge.
It just
and
helps
you
relieve,
listen.
It just helps relieve tension
Right,
and stress.
right,
And
right.
like you said, your home should be your sanctuary. Your home should be your castle. And me and Lady C talk about it all the time. Say, I don't want to fight the hell in the street and come home and fight hell.
Exactly.
And been warring all day and then got to
That's
come
hard.
home and war. Who want to do that? So I definitely
Nobody.
feel you. I feel you.
And that's that support that I'm talking about.
And to piggyback off of your friends with benefits, I laugh because it came off funny, but I knew exactly what you mean. Like, I tell Britt all the time, like, you really are my best friend. Like, I literally home, like, it's one thing to come home because your wife there and you just kind of got to be home. I want to be
That's
home.
good.
I
That's
want
good.
to be with my wife.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
like
what- yeah.
she used to ask me, so back in the day, well, we've been married 8 years now, so I can stay a little time. don't
Yeah,
worry
little
about
time.
it.
Look.
But no, before I used to just sit in the room with her because I could just sit in her presence. Like, that's not what she wanted. She wanted communication, interaction,
Right, right.
stuff like that. So we used to fight about that. Baby, you don't spend time with me. I'm like, girl, I'm sitting right here with you.
Right.
But now that I understood what she's looking for, I actually yearn for that. Like, I want that. Like, sometimes I be like, babe, you want to go upstairs and just lay in the bed and talk? And that's what we do. To go upstairs, talk about anything. It don't matter if it's money, current events, people being goofy, whatever, even people she deal with on the phone from work or whatever. And I just be like, dog, they said what? They so crazy. They don't know that's not how it work. Don't know what I'm talking about.
Right. It's egging it on.
But I
talking-
learned like that's that sweet spot to get the benefits.
That love language.
Amen. You see what I'm
Shouts out.
saying? You catch where I'm going with this, son? You see where I'm going? But no, yeah, so that's a very, 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 very vital part of it. And not saying I'm glad because I feel like you're my big brother. You can tell me more. But, like, no, that's real to look for as far as going into a marriage, though. I didn't feel like necessarily I didn't have that with my ex-wife, but I was like, I definitely got to have that with whoever my new wife was going to be. And it just helped. I knew Brittany before. Man, I've been knowing Brittany since I was like 5, 6 years old. So,
Be hot to the door.
Exactly. So, and also back to the equally yoked thing. Like I understood what her family was like. I understood what kind of background she came from. Even when I visited PCC the first time, I'm gonna pick at her right now. The first time I went to PCC, I heard Bishop Jones preach, and he reminded me of Bishop Kinsey, which is who I grew up under. Bishop Kinsey had passed at that time, so it brought a tear to my eye because I was like, man, I ain't heard teaching like this in a minute. Brittany looked at me and was like, bro, you crying? And I was like, nah, cuz I ain't crying, cuz nah, you know what I'm saying? So I had to explain to her later. So she bothered me about that. But yeah, so it's all of that mixed in that, yes, definitely when you look forward to getting married the next time, those are the things I look for. Yeah. And I was just, I feel like I did it right because I ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, that's a blessing.
That's good.
Mr. Persons, you stated that you might get married one day, that it's not off the table. After your divorce, is that something you had to come to, or after your first marriage, you first was like, nah, I'm never doing it again, and then over time, it got back to you, or have you, like he said, from the time you got divorced, you knew that it was a possibility you would get married again?
It took me a while because of the hurt, the disappointment, and I wasn't ready to. Why am I getting into something and I'm still hurting? So when I had to learn, when I see the individual that God sent me, I cannot bring my old life into the new relationship.
That's good.
And then look at the person, oh, you just like them. And that what destroy.
You struck a nerve there.
It began to, it destroy the relationship with the person because now you compare me with something that you've been through and I'm not that person.
Right.
And so I had to learn, I got to make sure it's gone.
Right. That's good.
I got to make sure I can communicate, like you said, without getting mad. You know, being able to say how I feel without the other person getting mad. Or even when you go into a relationship, you got to make sure that the person over there hurt.
Right.
Because you got to find out what they've been through.
Sure.
In order for both of y'all to heal, and maybe through the prayer and the healing and the counseling, both of you can heal at the same time. To put the marriage or put the relationship in a better standing. Most time when you meet people, they jump into something so quick. They already got the counseling. The man of God or the woman of God already told them, don't do it. Y'all need to wait. Then they jump into it, but they for us, their spiritual life, they're not ready.
Right.
And so when somebody do something that you remember the other person, you just like them. And then that just mess up everything.
Right.
Pastor, what is some of the processes that people should take when leaving a marriage before they enter another one? What's some of the things that they should do to make sure that they're whole before they even move forward, even dating before they move forward? What's some of the things that they should do?
I think Brother Person kind of spoke to it. One thing when you talk about divorce, it's not a death sentence. It's not the end of the world. But nobody wins in divorce, especially if there's children involved. There's a dying or a death that kind of takes place when you talk about divorce. So we have to make sure when we're coming out of the relationship, as Brother Person said, we have to do a deep dive internally. Have to make sure that we do our due diligence and make sure that we're whole and we're not just looking for a rebound relationship. There's a lot of traps and there's a lot of things that could trip us up, and these gentlemen probably could speak to it. A lot of different things that men have to avoid instead of just jumping. Of course, we have needs. We've all kind of alluded to the needs that we have sexually. And brothers like fellowship, like companionship. We like having that teammate. We like having that person that's in our corner. And so whenever it is that someone looks like they're going to bring that, we kind of jump on it, and we know that it's not a lot of. It's seemingly, in our estimation, it don't seem like there's a whole lot of good young ladies out there. So when we see one that got a flare or a flash, like they halfway decent, a lot of times just kind of jump on it. So I think that for me, the most important thing with me talking to people through these different instances is making sure that we are whole, making sure that we have forgiven, make sure there's no bitterness there, make sure there's no resentment there. Make sure if it was something that took place that caused this previous relationship to expire or to be exterminated, maybe someone stepped outside the relationship, and I think RJ kind of alluded to it, the way if you're not getting your needs met. It's amazing how many guys hide under the umbrella of adultery just because they're not getting fulfilled at home. And so they'll blame the fact that they step outside of their marriage and have adultery because they're not getting it at home. And if you don't get your flesh under subjection and being able to control yourself and to be able to channel all your energy towards your spouse, getting married is not going to fix that. You're just going to go from being a fornicator to an adulterer. So it's not going to fix it. But the point is, if I have some type of sexual proclivity, the way I got a high sex drive, and that caused a relationship to fall. If I don't get that under control and I don't get that under wraps, that's gonna take to the next relationship. So whatever thing, I think everyone, and I think all of us kind of spoke, I think everyone got something that they can take from the relationship that we can work on, that we can do a deep dive in, especially if we were very instrumental in the demise of the other. And we're quick to point the finger, and we're quick to say what he did, what she did, what this happened and that happened, and all that's true and all that's legit, but at the same time, it takes two to tango. Just like everyone have said, when it comes to companionship, when it comes to relationship, when it comes to support, when it comes to all of these things, it takes both parties being involved. And so I got to know that I brought something to the table. So going out of the relationship, got to see how to work on me and make sure that I'm going into this for the right reason. So that would be my take.
And this is for all of y'all. Last week we spoke, and in previous episodes we spoke about counseling. Is that something you guys actually participated in your first marriage, and you didn't find out certain things, or is that something that you look back and you say, maybe if we would have done that, things would have went differently? You could go, RJ. They got a lot on your mind.
Woo! Jesus. You still think about that friend with benefits. What he got in his mind. That's the only thing he think about.
I truly believe that if in my first marriage, it's like right before we got married, we sat with Pastor R.J. Washington, and it was like maybe an hour or two, something like that. And being honest, I wasn't even true, or being honest when I was in that. Because to me, I had a whole underlying thing to where I wasn't trying to hear nothing else. So I feel like if I was being honest and open and true to that counseling, then more than likely I would not have gotten married. So even in
hold on before you keep going. Hold on, because you just hit something. And you don't gotta. I gotta speak to the issue. You don't gotta speak to your situation. You as much as comfortable as you want to. That's still a cold cases, so I don't talk too much about that. But speak to that, because I think we see that a lot. That where people, not just guys, but people will say whatever they need to say to get to that altar. They'll say whatever they need to say to get through, and you can know, because you said you sat right there in counseling. You knew you wasn't. If you would have been honest, it would have never happened. But kind of speak to that. What are, and if you feel comfortable, what are some of those things that I know you say some financial things and military and all that. So what are some of those things that made you just kind of be like, I'm gonna run past all these roadblocks, run past all these barriers. I'm just gonna sit here and I'm gonna lie or not lie or conveniently not tell the truth. What are some of those things?
Basically, it was put it out there. We sitting in and we being asked, the questions that you're being asked. Mm-hmm. And, the thing is first thing come up, faith. Next thing, church, belief, that type thing. And to me, my whole underlying current today was, I'm not trying to hear anything he was saying. I'm just going to be honest.
Right.
I wasn't trying to hear, honestly, I can't even remember nothing he even said.
Right.
I'm just going to be honest about it.
Right.
So for me, it was, I'm looking at, I'm looking at getting married, and the honest thing about it was, it had nothing to do with sex.
I got you.
It had everything to do with, I can get more money if I live out in town and I'm in the military. Mm-hmm. So my whole underlying thing was money.
Right, I got you.
I wasn't trying to hear what nobody else had to say.
Right.
Not my parents, not my brothers, my sister, not even a pastor.
Right.
I could have cared less about it.
Sure.
I'm listening. I'm looking at the fact that okay, we about to be married.
Counting them coins.
Was not in love.
Right, I got you.
Nowhere near equally yoked.
Right.
Not even the whole communication part. We never talked. It wasn't that okay because we grew up basically. Let's say went to school together. I still don't know you. You know, never knew nothing about you, but we kind of went to school, so we kind of know about each other. So we both back from the same place. So it's like, okay, well, there's somebody back. If I go home, then we go home together. It's somebody, okay, I get more money. I'm not in love with you, but not saying those things. So lying about the entire thing is just what made it worse.
Right, I got you.
Because I went into the relationship not being honest.
I got you. That's good. Right.
And being out with it and not being honest, that killed it. In my second marriage, we went to counseling well after the fact. And the counselor at that time didn't believe in, submitting to one another. But yet they said they believe God. So to me, it was more or less like, why are we even here?
Right.
Because if we're married, then she's supposed to put me before anybody else and I come second to God. But that's not what she put out. The third one, counseling was after the fact when things had done went like, okay. But in each one of them, I knew what the issue was. The second was because, oh, you still here? Okay, well, why not? So we got married. The third was because, like I said, it was lustful. Just being honest with you. Went in with that whole sex thing in mind. Like, yeah, okay. She look good. She trophy wife, basically. So, and then going to counseling, it was more or less like, my eyes were open to a lot of things. Because learning that she was battered, just as, Brother Person said, it was everything that I did, it reminded her of what he did. And I got compared to it. So that to me was like, yeah, I'm not about to sit here and do this with you. Because you want to compare me to somebody who you claim you don't want to be with, but yet you still talking about it. So that means you still hurt. You never got over that, but yet, we did this. Why did we even go further? So to me, that's the whole counseling thing. Would I? Yeah, definitely. Definitely, because I need to understand and know that we're on the same page.
Right.
And I'm not going in with no lies.
Right.
I'm not going in, with no arterial motives. I'm going in, just like we're going to go in. We're going to go in, my head on right, your head on right. We're going to talk about this. We're going to make sure we good. We're going to make sure we cover each other. And this time, I'm going to listen to what my pastor telling me.
This time. and I think as RJ said, and we're going to let the other brother answer, and counseling only works if you want it. Both parties have. You can talk to the world's greatest counselor. They can pull all back the covers and go back to when you was 2 years old and you didn't get a lollipop and that was your first time of trauma, and they can unravel all this stuff. They can do all of that, but if both parties are not willing to heed and to do that due diligence, to try to do that deep dive, we just sitting there really just wasting our time. We just talking. So that's very good.
Well, I think counseling is needed. I never had counseling. Get a job, take care of yourself. That's what I was told. But you married her, you got to take care. But I think counseling is needed. I think when people go to counseling, but really, I think what I'm learning is what really mess them up is they go, but they go not to listen.
Right.
They go because they want to be married.
That's part of the process.
Yeah, they don't go to listen to what the man or woman of God telling them. They go just because they want to get married. And then they'll say within themselves, because the enemy is slick, they'll say within themselves, well, he run his house like this, I run my house like this here.
Right.
But they never speak it out, but it's in their mind. Right. But they still going to counseling because they want to be married.
Sure.
And so when they get to the problems that they have to face, it all fall apart. Because they didn't take heed to the sound teaching, the sound word that was spoke to them. And even when a pastor tell a couple that, I think y'all need to wait, they don't want to hear that.
No.
In their mind, they already gonna get married. They already done set the date, but they ain't told him.
Right.
And so I think when you go the detour, you finna head for a cliff, and they don't even know it. They just think, I'm gonna do these 3 sessions or these 5 sessions and stuff, and I'm gonna get married. And that it's good when you get married, but what about when the trouble comes?
Right.
That's where the marriage begin to fall, when you don't have the money to pay the bills, or when the baby gets sick and you got to be up all night,
Right.
or when you lose your job. That take more than just saying, well, I'm gonna just go to counseling and the counselor gonna fix it. Do you want to be fixed?
Right.
That's the whole problem. A lot of people don't want to be fixed. They just want to go to counseling to get married.
I went to counseling or premarital counseling with my ex-wife, and we went to Bishop Benjamin over at
Faith United.
Faith United. Yep, over on 5th and Woods. I think the problem she and I had, we knew all the politically correct answers.
Right.
We both were born and raised in church, so we both had pretty much decent marriages to look at. So we knew all the correct answers. So the deep dive questions never came up because it seemed like we had it all together. We had it all figured out.
That's real.
Were ready.
That's real. That's real.
We were ready for those politically correct answers. So even with my second wife, Brittany, I love saying her name. Amen. Even with her, we went to Pastor Virgil Jones Jr., and he went in those deep dive questions because this time I mentally said, you know what, I'm not going to just give the politically correct answer. Let me see what he really going to ask me, give me some scenarios, and I applied all those scenarios to what I went through before and said, how would I handle it now? And if we had an issue with it in that session, then yeah, we dealt with it. So a lot of the stuff, Pastor Jones was like, boy, you just own it. And I was just like, I'm not trying to be on it. I don't want to be on it. I want to make sure I'm doing the right thing. I want to make sure I'm coming in here with the right mindset. I want her to understand this is my mindset. I want to make sure she knows what she's getting into, like all of this, because this is her first marriage. I never want to take anybody, again, from their parents' house and not be able to deliver the way I'm supposed to deliver as a husband. So, we got into it, and I think it was the best thing for us, but also it gave us tools for once we got married, some of the little stupid, little minute, crazy things that blow up to be so huge, we were able to handle and go, remember this or remember that or this and that and the other. And, I think counseling is great. I hadn't had to have any post-marital counseling or current marital counseling. I don't know what the word term for that is, but y'all understand what I'm saying. We hadn't had to go to counseling. Now, and my wife has mentioned it a couple of times in the past, but I wasn't opposed to it. I was just like, well, hold on. Let me see if I can fix it. Let me see if I can figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Let me see if I can give you what you want, and let me see how that affects me. Now, if it affects me where I'm like, man, I can't do this, then yeah, now we got to find a mediator. We got to find a middle ground or whatever. And thank God, for 8 years, we hadn't had to have a counselor. We've had some blowouts. I done got in the car and drove off, knowing I was coming right back. There wasn't no driving or leaving. I wasn't gone. I wasn't never gone. But, I did learn that was one thing we needed. And hence, for the godly brag a little bit. But when we was in that 900 square foot apartment, it wasn't no getting away from each other. So I had to drive down the street at a 3,000 square foot house. I go in the studio now. She can stay upstairs in her room. I can get my space now. I don't have to leave.
Got a little room to stretch out now.
Exactly. So, but no, I totally for the counseling. But just like I said before, man, don't go in there with preconceived notions and knowing your politically correct answers and all of that going in, or going in with just hey, I already know what I'm going here for, so this don't even matter. Let me just say what I need to say to get up out of here.
Right, that's good.
So you guys, in your marriage, and like you said, for 8 years you guys haven't had to do that. What's some of the things you do to open up those difficult conversations that couples, it's hard for them to have, so they ultimately go to counseling because they can't do it themselves? What's some of the things you do when you know it's a little touchy conversation, but we got to have it? what's some of the ways that you try to approach it to not offend her or to not even hurt yourself wanting to even go that route? What's some of the things that you do?
You said it. I literally say to her, I'm not trying to step on your toes, not trying to offend you. We got to have this conversation. Or she'll say the same thing. And with that going in, I mentally know, okay, I might get upset, but let me hear her all the way out. You know, because it is, man, look, I tell my wife all the time, she the only one that can push my buttons. So if RJ come up to me and he talking sideways and crazy, I'm just, all right, bro. Like, you know, but when it's your significant other and they coming at you or they saying stuff that nobody else knows about you, she's very intimate. She knows how you pass gas, sleep, lay with your arm twisted this way, you know, how long you know what I'm saying? So when they calling all of those things out about you, you looking like, yeah, this junk hurt, man, you know, but you have to get over all of that. If both of y'all saying, look, we really sitting up here trying to make this marriage work, we're really trying to dissolve this situation and make sure we don't have to revisit this in the future, man, as long as both of y'all got the right mindset on that, I think you can just come together and just be like, look, it needs to be said or it needs to be discussed. Please don't get upset. You may. It's fine. And then that's the other thing. Understand people have their right to be upset, sad, angry, whatever. Don't react to what their reaction is, you know, and that's one thing I had to learn. Brittany used to get mad. I'm like, oh, I'm mad too, you know, and then we ain't get nothing done. Now we just both up mad. Here out of wind and tired and mad, and that's it, you know. We ain't get nothing resolved for an hour and a half. Now, you know, we really take the conscious effort to just say, you know what, hey, as much as this for the hurt, at least it ain't leaving the house. This between me and her. Let me hear what you got to say. Let's fix it.
Right. Pastor, how often do you run into that, couples that are willing to come and get counseling, not premarital, but they're in the middle, right? And there's either the man or the woman that's comfortable enough to say, hey, we having a problem, can we talk? Or is it usually by the time they want counseling, they probably almost already out the door?
Most of the time it is they got the divorce papers sitting on the passenger seat. They got them in they got them in their bag. You know, and you know, you do have those couples that want to keep everything, you know, kind of like an oil change, kind of like a tune-up, want to keep things going, and especially when you kind of get to some spots where you guys can't come to, as Ginn said, you know, we can't come to a resolve. I can't tweak here, you can't tweak there, so let's get that mediator. It's for whatever reason, and I know the reason, but I'm just going to say it politically correct. For whatever reason, men have a more of a difficult time coming to counsel. You know, as Brother Person said, that inner voice that says, "Man, I ain't studying. What this joker talking about?" That's him. Or as one guy said in the booth, "Oh boy, he's a good man." I was preaching on something one day, and they straight snitched on Angelo after service. They're like, I don't know what I said, but Angelo said, "Ooh, he's a good man." So in other words, I ain't finna do that. That's the preacher. That's it. But for whatever reason, you know, most times you kind of wait till it gets bad. I'm not the one when my marriage was rocky, those first 5 years, and my wife was trying to push us to go to counseling. I didn't necessarily want to go either, you know, because I wanted to try to fix it as well, wanted to be able to turn things around. So counseling is not a magic wand where it's going to just resolve everything and fix everything. You just got to want to do it. But to your question, most of the time, you know, things have gotten bad. There's been some heartbreak. There's been some pain. There's been some frustration. There's been basically like two ships just drifting apart most of the time when it's introduced. And as I said, you have some cases where it's like a tune-up or oil change, but those are few and far between.
I think, Pastor, you and Ginn said something so vital. And, you know, it's just the whole scenario is counseling. But what you say is so vital is the fact that being able to go to counseling and not going out talking to other people outside of your marriage.
Right.
To me, that can kill a marriage more than anything.
Right.
Because most men who don't want to go to counseling go to counseling outside of the pastor.
Right, sure.
They're taught to, you know, the opposite sex at work or wherever else.
Right.
And I'm not saying that women don't do it too, but I'm speaking as men.
Sure.
We'll go and we'll talk to someone else It might be a parent. When our parent, we know our parent don't like our spouse probably already. Or you go to a old friend that already mad at you because you got married, or you know an ex-friend or a co-worker. And the sad part about it is, it's like you want somebody to take your side.
Right.
And that's the whole counseling thing that that many of us do. That when we go into counseling, we need to have an open mind.
Right.
To say, okay, this is the person who I say I'm gonna marry. Then I need to exemplify, and be with this person wholeheartedly, and not go outside and talk to anyone. I need to be able to go to my pastor if my pastor is truly, what I'm saying, a man of God. Because you got something that's not. They'll tell your business or talk your business.
Right.
But your pastor is a man of God. Then you go and you confide in them, you talk to them, and you try to get things to be better. But most of us, as you were saying before, we don't. We go outside.
Right. And that's a very good point. And I think that's my issue when people say they're non-confrontational, because you non-confrontational. If I got a problem with him, I'm non-confrontational when it comes to him.
Yes,
but
sir.
I'm telling everybody else what's going on.
Yes, sir.
I'm confronting the issue with everybody else, but I will not go to the individual. So as you said, we're gonna spill out. We're gonna have. We're gonna talk about it somewhere. Preferably, it's not a co-worker and a friend and all these other kinds of stuff. But we're gonna spill out. So I think it's important that we find that safe place. We find that safe place.
In wrapping up, start with you, Mr. Persons. What do you tell that man that's been married 10, 15 years and has gotten a divorce, and he don't know where to go? Maybe he wants to give up on marriage. Maybe he's considering. Maybe he might do it again. What do you tell him to encourage him that this divorce ain't the end of the world? It's not like Pastor said, not a death sentence. What do you say to him?
First, I would tell him that first you're gonna have to ask God to heal his wounds, and remove the pain and the disappointment there, that he can move on, and then wait on God. If the ship sinking, don't get in the ship and it's already sinking. Wait on God. Even though it look nice and it's pretty and everything all dressed up, but you have to understand that sometimes because stuff look pretty and dressed up, they ain't all the picture. They ain't the whole story to the picture. You got to find out how it got pretty and dressed up. Right. What led to this picture to be so beautiful? Because sometimes there's some scars behind there that not healed, and a lot of the times you mess around and get with somebody, it look pretty, but it can kill you also. Right. And what I mean by kill you, it can destroy your will to do the things that God called you to do, because now you trying to get something that you want, instead of giving God what you need. Let God give you what you need. And you find yourself all hurt again. And then the second time, and it just keep piling on, and you just give up. And you should never give up. There's always a way out. There's always somebody you can talk to. But I think when people get hurt, when they get crushed, and the weight gets so heavy and they don't have nobody to talk to, that's why they go to drinking. That's why they go to smoking. That's why they go to cocaine. That's why they start doing the drugs, because they being crushed, but they don't know how to get from under that weight.
Right.
Again, what do you tell that young man who was in a marriage, he's been divorced, but he still believes in marriage, and marriage is something that he does want to do and he's looking forward to in the future? How do you help him, or what advice would you give him before he steps into that next marriage? What would you tell him about himself?
Definitely be honest with himself. Whatever he has dealt with in the past, as far as whatever the reason the marriage ended, understand there were some contributions you did too. Just own it. Be a man about it. And if you need to, once again, I'm not against counseling at all. You can get individual counseling for yourself to make sure you're already ready or all together. So before you say, I'm going to take this young lady from her house or from her parents or whatever, her way of lifestyle, that I got all myself together before I bring her in. It took me a little while between my ex-wife and my wife. I was clowning. I seek healing in all the wrong places, all the wrong ways. So whether it was being with females, knowing I wasn't supposed to be doing that, and started smoking weed, started drinking, all of that before I met my wife. But little old church boy Darnell knew better, and I had to get honest with myself. And I think my wife suffered in the dating part of it because I had to deal with all of that before I said I'm for to ask her to marry me. You know what I mean? And I was even at a point where I was trying to make her break up with me because I didn't want to break up with her and hurt her. I wanted, like, I was just doing stupid stuff or just like I'm sitting with her and just ain't talking, doing dumb junk to make her just be like, "Well, this boy don't want to be with me. I'm for to leave this boy alone," But it was all of that. But all of that to say, that's why you got to get yourself together first,
Right.
Before you say I'm for to move on into a new relationship. So that way you don't even have those issues and those situations.
That's good.
And RJ, what do you tell that young man that's been married multiple times, and now he's done? He's on the fence. What advice do you give him to encourage him about potential marriage again?
Well, the first thing I would let him know is be equally yoked with the person who you plan on getting with, who you plan on being with. Don't seek for marriage and think it's gonna make you happy, because then it becomes a standardized gameplay for a lover's distraction. Meaning
He's just gonna drop that on his ass like ain't nothing happened.
yeah,
He's just gonna say that like he just said MNLOP. No. Drop that on us one more time. Drop them bars on us one more time, RJ. You say what now? Say it again. I don't know what I
seek
just said.
not to be happy in a marriage, or seek not marriage just for happiness, because it becomes a standardized gameplay for a lover's distraction.
Ooh, yes sir.
Meaning, while you were there, what you're doing is buying your time out because you're still doing stuff you shouldn't be doing in the first place. You going out committing adultery. You going out, not being honest, not being true. First and foremost, you need to be able to be true with yourself and true to who you are. First thing first, put God first. Don't look for the person to make you happy, because if you're not happy, you're not gonna be happy.
Right. That's true.
If you having underlying issues and problems, you're gonna continue to have those, which gonna become worse. Right. So the thing is open-minded, being true to yourself, and making sure that you understand, first and foremost, the person that you want to be with, y'all equally yoked, and they become that friend with the benefits.
That's good.
Pastor, you want to close us?
Sure. I really thank these brothers for their honesty, their openness. It really takes a big man to be able to own their mistakes and things that have taken place in their relationships and their marriages, and always know none of us come from a posture like we got it all together. We're all in this thing together. We're all striving. We're all just trying to do what we can to be able to be pleasing unto the Lord. And also to be pleasing to God through our relationship. So I'm grateful for these brothers being open, being honest, being transparent. And if there's a gentleman out there somewhere that can I love the variety that we have. We have one that's been married one time and the kind of slow dragging, one that was married and then got into another relationship and is happy and is living life and enjoying life. Then we have another that's been married multiple times and open for whatever it is God desires to do. So prayerfully, you can see yourself on this panel, see yourself, and just know that divorce again is not the death of you, it's not the end of you. But at the same time, God still wants you to do your due diligence, to do that inward deep dive, the way you can be whole mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, relationally, financially, every area of your life, to where whomever it is, if God decides or desires for you to be married again, or to be married, period, where you won't be bringing all of that extra stuff into relationships. So I'm grateful for you guys. Thank y'all so much for your testimonies.
Thank you.
Appreciate your open, your honesty, and transparency.
All right, and again, thanks TIL Nation for tuning in to our Pastor's Perspective podcast, and we'll be back next week. Here comes the church.
Here comes the church.
Here comes the church.